What's up, Saab fans around the world, and welcome back to another episode. So today we are going to go and pick up the gearbox. It has been welded, so it will now fit to a Saab engine, which is awesome, and that's what we want. So we are going to take like 1.5 hour drive to go get it, and I will bring you along because I had promised that I will show all the details in this project, except maybe the most unnecessary, like grinding away rust, which isn't too fun to either film or watch. So I have done a little bit in the garage. I have loosened the 13mm bolt that hold the steering rack in, so that's now loose, and we are going to do some more work on the engine bay. And don't be afraid, the subframe is resting on some rubber pillows, so it won't scratch this mint condition paint, which is not. So first we are going to just turn the light off, like so. And we are going to jump into the Arctic White MG95. A little trick to lock the door. It's so hot outside today. So the cold start on this car is so long, but now it has calmed down, so now it's ready to go. Release the handbrake and we're off. AC might be a little disturbing now in the beginning, so I guess we will continue on the video when everything has settled a little bit. Even though I'm on coilovers and it's a static car, it is so nice. Drives just perfect. Vacation times out here in Sweden, so we have a lot of these out here on the roads. The speed limit is 100, but they are going like 90. This is just so lame. But eventually they will move out.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back.
just picked up one of the key parts for the rear wheel drive build. So this is the BMW 6-speed manual gearbox together with the Saab flange. So this will be really exciting to put on and see how it fits the engine. So now it's just the 1.5 hour drive back home, but you cannot complain. So the gearbox is home, safe and sound, and I had a little mishap when I filmed the inside of the car. When I started recording, or I thought I started recording, I actually stopped the camera, so I sat and talked for like 7-8 minutes to no one. That was quite a bummer, but nothing too important. I was just explaining a little bit about why I don't run the Omega gearbox instead of the BMW gearbox with the welded flange. And that's the main reason is because the Omega gearbox can't hold the power that this gearbox can. So the Omega gearbox, I think third gear is the weak spot, and it can only hold up to like 440 Newton meters of torque or something like that. For a Saab 9.5, that's like a stage 3 tune. And this gearbox, there are people that has dynoed like 900 wheel horsepower with it, so this is quite a sturdy one, and this will be really nice. But one thing that I didn't know about when I bought the gearbox and when I did this job is that on the regular like 9.5 gearbox, the gearbox shaft sits like inside the gearbox, so you don't need any like bearing inside of the crankshaft. But on the BMW gearbox you need it to like release some of the tension on the gearbox or the rod. So here it sticks out like 8 millimeters, and that rod is going straight into the crank of this one right here. So the Omega gearbox or the Opel Omega bearing actually fits bolt on, so I have ordered one of those. But today I think we should continue the work. So in the last episode we got the subframe out. Now I'm going to cut away this middle part where the steering rack sat before. We don't need that anymore. We need the space for the gearbox to sit in between. So that is going away today. Then we are going to bolt back the subframe into the car. Of course this will be like refinished and blasted and painted and new bushings and everything. But right now we will just fit it right back so we could continue the work. Then we are going to disassemble some of the OEM stuff that we got right here. So the rod from the original gearbox right here, this is going away because we are going to aim to get the rod from the new gearbox to sit in this position right here, but inside of the car instead. So we are going to remove some of the heat shield that is down below. This right here need to come off. Then we are going to start to cut away some of the material, like make a little like stencil or something like that, so we know the pattern of the gearbox, measurement a little bit, how wide we should cut and how high up into the bodywork. I think we will start with something easy, like just going above this, because this is like the measurement that we are aiming for. And for the subframe, I'm gonna go with the idea that I had in the last episode, where we are turning the spindles, so we are moving the steering rack in front of everything. So I'm going to remove some of the stuff that's connected to the steering rod right now, all the lines. So we got the bare naked like steering rod, and we will try to modify it so it sits like inside of the subframe, sticking out, and then bolt it from underneath instead of on top of the spindle, because the engine, the height of the engine, when it sits mounted originally, you have like the subframe is right here, and then the engine sits perfect. So in order to achieve like the right height, we need to have the steering rack like inside of the subframe, nearly underneath the subframe, to get the right height of the engine. So I think that will be the first idea, or the first way to go at least. So we will start by cutting a little bit into the subframe, get that back into the car, then start to disassemble some stuff that's in the way inside of the car. Like we got the heater pack and everything right here. So we need to remove some of these bolts right here, and the goal is to keep the ignition and the placement of the shifter in the same spot that we have right now. So we are going to aim to get the gearbox somewhere around here. Then we can just extend or make it shorter depending on where it ends up being. But I really going to aim to keep everything stock inside here, so you should not be able to tell like that the car is a rear wheel drive from the inside of the car. It's going to look Saab 100%. That's my goal at least. So let's start cutting.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shoot tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
So now we have some clearance in the subframe, which is nice. And I have done some measurements on the gearbox. This is not the first time and not the last time we bring out the Hultafors. This is the proper building tool. But on the widest stage of the case, I say we have like 300 millimeters or something like that. But if everything goes according to my plan, we will have like the gearbox sitting next to the firewall somewhere around like here. So it will even be more narrow, and here it's like somewhere roughly 230 millimeters or something like that. So I made this up. It's not exact by any means, but this is traced from the gearbox, and it will sit not at an angle, it will sit straight. And I guess this is pretty straight underneath in the middle of the car. So this outer part right here will sit like 100 millimeters out in the engine bay, and this line right here is probably the line that we need to cut so that the gearbox has some clearance, so it's not just a tight squeeze underneath. But we will bolt in the subframe again and see how it looks, because this is not exact by any means, but this gives a hint on how low like the engine and the gearbox will sit. So I think this will be pretty good actually. Had the gearbox refined a little bit, but you can see how nice this sits. Of course now it's not 100%, but it will be pretty close to where it's at right now. Maybe a little bit, I think it will be a little bit more up or down. I'm not really sure, but I think it will be a little bit more up. But check out the angles. There is not much sticking down underneath the subframe, if you say so. And as I said, if it sits just a tiny bit higher, it will be perfect, really nice. And then we're aiming to get the steering rack somewhere through here. I think this will be really good. But now we need to get inside of the car and start to disassemble a little bit of the assembly inside. I have taken apart quite a few 9.5s, but not to this depth that we are at right now. So it's kind of interesting to just see how everything sits. And this heater package should really need to go, so I need to figure out how this is assembled and where it's mounted. And how it's mounted, if it's the whole package up here. So the shifter and the shifter rod is out. Now I just need to get like the heater pack and the AC and everything out, because I think they will make it when we're done with the tunnel and the floor, but right now it needs to go away so I can cut freely into the car. And I have never removed this. I've never even removed the entire like dashboard, so this will be quite interesting to see how it's done, but I think we will manage some way. So this is a pretty sick view. I didn't know how to get this like heater AC pack out. So I contacted Marcus Wig, Vetlanda Bil and Skadecenter, and he told me to remove the cover and then take this whole like beam together with the heater package. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I went here to Saab WIS online workshop information system. If you have been here before, this is the best site if you're going to do like any work. So there are a couple of steps to remove the dashboard, and actually when I went through all these steps I was already at step like 32, and 32 to 35 is the last steps. So there was just some bolts in the top corners holding the dashboard in, and some at the bottom, and then it was just to pull it out. And now I got it out, it's outside there, and now there's a lot of stuff that's disassembled from the car, and I'm not too afraid to like disassemble electronics in the engine bay, because I know pretty much where every contact is going, or all the connectors. Here is a different story. I have never stripped down a car this much in the interior before, but somehow we will get it back, I hope. But I have taken a lot of pictures right now, so I know where all the cables should sit, and now it's just like try to disconnect everything and try to get all the like grounding points off, and try to like loosen the harness from the beam, and then try to lift the beam out, and hopefully we get the heater package with it. So wish me luck. This might take a while, so I will not film everything, but I will try to do my best to get everything off, and hopefully I will get it back in the same order as it sits right now. So fingers crossed everything goes as planned. That was super easy. I mean, just loosen a couple of things there, some here, and just pull it out. No big deal. This is insane. Not much car left right now. Wow. So this is really interesting. I have never ever dug this deep into a Saab before, and now we're at this pace again. I have said it so many times during this build process that I don't like when the garage is like parts everywhere, but now we are there again. Parts everywhere. But I need to clean this up, and we need to wrap up this episode because I won't be doing much more today. Now we have the clean shot to cut the floor and see where the gearbox should be placed, and that will be in the next episode. Because a lot of times you say like think 4 times and build 1, and this is one of those times, like think 3 times before you cut, and cut once, so you don't take away unnecessary material from the car that already exists, because it's a rigid car build right now. Of course we need to fix the holes, but we don't want to mess up the frame too much. We want to do as little like damage as possible. But this is crazy. I never thought that I would get so much out of the way, but now we're here. So of course, as I said before, when we held the mold up outside where we should cut, I think we should cut like just above the lower ring, because that's the place where the gearbox shaft was before. So right above that, and then of course we need to take out the floor, extend it on the sides a little bit. I don't think we need to do it much higher than it is right now, but we will see. And we got some foam right here that we will not have afterwards. It will be a little bit more raw and like race car-ish. So this is crazy. I never thought this beam would be able to be like unhooked without taking away all the wire, but it went pretty smooth actually to just wiggle it out between the wires. So yeah, we got some work to do for sure. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up to support my build. This is one of the most insane builds I have ever done and probably will ever do. I don't think I will do this one more time after this, but this is so exciting and I'm getting really far into the build right now, and now some really exciting things are happening and we got tons of work to do. So please stay tuned to the channel, comment if you have any questions, spread this video all over the internet to help me and support my build, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.